Is the telemetry stream on?
It's going.
It's going. And so we can go ahead and begin if you will instruct Tyler on what to do next.
Okay, great. So we're gonna do some just startup procedures. Do you have ARSIS, the app, open?
Not yet.
Okay, go ahead and open it up. Make sure you are connected to the internet before you do that.
Yes, I'm connected to the internet.
You need to take your glove off
Yeah, I'm
to
trying to
navigate the UI.
get to the all app portion. It's just a little out of my reach. There we go.
Yeah, it might be hard to articulate with the. So it doesn't read your wrist with that glove on.
Okay, I might do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I just opened up ARSIS.
Are you recording? Okay, you opened up ARSIS?
Yep.
Okay. Let's go ahead and just go through. Can you test a voice command to make sure you can open up a menu?
Okay. Procedures. Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Now we're just gonna wait a couple seconds while we get the meshes to load. Caleb, go ahead and give me the go ahead when you have meshes and you think there's enough in there. And then do some telestration near him as well. Let us know when you see the red letters that Caleb is drawing.
Yep. Seeing it now.
Okay, great. I think we are through our startup procedure then, so you can go ahead. The first thing you should need to do is open up procedures and run through the UIA procedure.
Okay. So starting with prepare UIA.
Yep.
Okay.
Tyler, are you getting telemetry?
What is that supposed to look like? Just so I'm on the same
So
page. I have the map.
you should see a time left value at the bottom.
I'm not seeing a time left value anywhere.
Oh. And did you confirm that you were connected to the internet before you started?
Yes.
That should be coming through then. I know last time it didn't. It was an internet connection issue.
Oh, Wi-Fi hotspot is showing the time. You can check connectivity.
I can access the whole.
Okay.
We think you may have lost internet connection because we stopped getting meshes.
Is yours broadcasting to the web?
Yes.
Okay. What we think is happening is that it's overloading the hotspot because of the broadcast.
Okay.
Yeah, the LAN is working though.
Is it still connected? Does it say it's connected? Boise State?
Do we know if he's still connected?
He's moving, but it's kind of hard to tell on my end.
We are not sure on our end.
I think he might be. The thing is, I'm not getting meshes. So,
okay. We think he is connected. Caleb, you want to draw something else and see if he gets it? We're gonna do a test.
Okay.
So, Tyler, let you see the new drawings that Caleb is making.
I'm seeing a T.
Test one.
E. Test.
Are you seeing it?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so you're connected.
Yeah, test one.
Okay, so I guess we can just proceed then.
Just go for it now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so do I go back to procedures?
So yeah, go back to procedures and run through the UIA procedure.
Yes. So procedures. Okay. So I want to prepare UIA one. You have that? All right, follow me. Sorry, the prepare UIA button just does not want to click for me. So if there's any tips on how to better click it.
Oh, you can say it. You can say it as a voice command instead.
Oh, prepare UIA. There we go. Okay, ensure the power EV1 is set to off. Okay. Power EV1 off. Okay. Next. Next. Okay. Ensure that the water supply EV1 is set to close. Okay, close. Yep. Next. 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 There we go. Ensure that the oxygen EV1 is set to close. Okay, set to close. Next. Next. There we go. Ensure the oxygen EV2 is set to close. Oxygen EV2. Okay. Close. Yep. Next. Switch O2 vent to open. O2 vent. Open. Next. Next. O2 vent to close. Oh, I said the word close and it closed. Procedures.
That's a
Prepare UIA.
That's one.
yeah.
All right. Next. 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 Okay. Next. Okay. Next. Down UIA and SU O2 lines. Check that the O2 vent is set to close. Okay. O2 vent is set to close. Okay. Next.
Can you tell
The
which
oxygen E1 to open. Oxygen E1 to open. Next. Switch oxygen EV1 to, I'm not going to say that word. Next. To open. Next. 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 check that UIA power EV1 is set to off. UIA power to EV1 is off. Okay, next. Switch DCU power to BAT, then continue to next step. DCU power. Okay. Next. Switch UIA to on. Next. Procedure complete. You are now ready for EVA. Okay. Next. Okay.
Okay, great. So since we do not have the correct map in there, we're going to have to do this next part a little bit unplanned. But Caleb is going to draw an arrow that should point you in the right direction. You are going to be looking for the geology site.
Okay. I currently have all the other text on my screen as well. If there's a way of getting rid of that, that would declutter some of my screen if that's possible.
You can say map to close the map.
No, I said welcome to ARSIS 4 and test 1 on my screen still.
Oh, yes, we do not have a way to clear that, but you'll be walking away from it in a moment.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
I'm just gonna leave that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like just in the direction away from the wall. So, yep. Okay, so you should be seeing some arrows on the floor that are pointing you in the correct
Oh,
direction.
wow, yeah.
Are they pointing you towards the wall or away from the wall?
No, they're pointing me to my right if I'm facing the wall.
Okay,
I'm facing the arrows now.
okay. So we think that's the direction where you're supposed to go. Let us know if it seems wrong because we're operating on limited information here.
Yep, sounds good. Should I start traversing then?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna dodge some obstacles on it while I'm doing this. Okay. Should I wait for the next arrow or should I be seeing another arrow?
Let us know. Like, do you see a path to proceed forward from where the arrows have led you?
Yep.
Okay. So we know that the geology site is going to be in that direction. We're not sure exactly where, so keep an eye out. Let us know if you find it or if you're having trouble finding it.
Yeah, a giant field in front of me that looks like it could be used for geology. So I'll see over there.
Okay, great. Yeah, that sounds right. So you'll want to go there and you'll want to start the field notes menu and create a new field note in that location.
Okay. Fine. Fine. Yep. Other descriptors. Again, Darren would kill me if I actually didn't know this, but I'm gonna go with vesicular, that's my favorite one. I hear them say that a lot during tests, so vesicular. Maybe I'm not saying vesicular right, maybe I just go with glassy. Okay, durability, definitely gonna be crumbles. Or crumbles. There we go. And then start. Start. Oh, I started and ended my capture on, or my audio in one note. That's fine. My audio won't be that great. So I'm gonna say capture. Capture. Oh, there we go. Ooh, pretty looking picture. Okay, field note recorded. Close. Okay. What next?
Do you need samples?
Oh, do I go into sampling now?
It's kind of up to how the team has been using the geology feature. So it might be very self-instructed where you are the geologist and you're using it simply as a tool. This part is very instruction free because you're rather using these field note capabilities.
So I'm looking around. I got
Do you see a way to get into the hallway? Is there like a doorway that you can find?
So you're starting to see.
So here's where he's here. The door was more towards the original point. I think that was the original door that he was like looking towards. Is what it is. So you're gonna want to navigate him back to where you started.
Yeah, so it's basically here's my thought right now. That is so jump.
You're gonna want to point him like back towards where he started though, because the door, like I think you'd be pointing that way. Like the door is close to where he started, which is where your original like the ARSIS. I would get him back there. Yeah, I would get him back there, and then we can direct him towards the door. Yeah. Now we might need to be ready for him.
The composition here, fire zone, larger zone. So that looks like it's been shipped off. Very fine. Great one. And there's
Okay.
this is the biggest thing that in that style. So it looks like it's a good example to call out. And lined up, captured.
I'm going through a wall, but I think I'm close to the space.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
We should have the ability to erase illustration.
Yes.
That should be a thing.
Wait.
Yeah.
That's funny. I've had that thought before, but I kept forgetting to actually do it.
Okay. Now we got a picture of that taken. Close.
Okay. Are you, if you're done with the field notes procedure, Caleb has drawn some more arrows. Those arrows are going to lead you back to where you started. Let us know if you see those.
Okay. I'm collecting the sample.
Okay, you're collecting the sample. Okay.
Okay, now you want me to follow the arrows?
Yes, so you're going to want to follow the arrows back to where you started. There may be some walls that we missed, so if the arrows lead you astray, look for that original welcome to ARSIS 4.0 text. Do you know what the door is? Do you want to create a symbol on the door?
So I'm supposed to be following.
That is.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing arrows that are guiding me.
All right, we're gonna switch it to the mobile so we can take it on the run. Hang on.
Seems like the arrow pointing to this door. Pretty accurately, so nice job on that, right?
Okay. It looks like he got out the door. He's in the hallway. Do you see him in the hallway?
Okay, yes.
All right, so guide him down the hallway.
That's going the opposite of the way I thought that was going to go.
You want me to pause here and write it down?
Hey.
Oh, good. Okay. We're gonna give you more arrows.
Yeah. Holding. We make more observations.
Okay. Okay. I don't think we're gonna get more arrows. Just keep going down the hallway.
Okay.
So can you outside the hallway the direction? Did you get the direction where the next thing is gonna be? So it's gonna be the hallway. So take a look at this. So hallway is here. We need him to go in that direction. Do you think? Can you find the end of the hallway and like point him in that direction?
Maybe so. Take a look
As
at
a general note on my map feature, I have now two numbers that kind of overlap with each other. And like one, the numbers are changing constantly, but I don't
Watch
know.
the sledge here. It's going to either the stairs or the ramp, depending on whichever way your UI tells you to go.
Okay, he's outside.
So holding on an arrow to tell me which way to go.
Can you see?
So he's on a loading dock. And there's
He's
a
getting-
stairway.
Can you not see his
I can see the null right now. Yeah, I can see everything pretty well.
Because they do have a sun shield. So I'm wondering if you could grab that.
So far I can see pretty well. I'm just
It's on
looking.
that desk in the huddle room.
It's actually wooden box as soon as you walk in on the left of the test room.
Am I holding on an arrow or?
Yes, we are going to give you an arrow to the direction that we believe you should go.
This button switches the
Right as the sun's been.
Yeah, but I get hot when I go over.
Yes, in weeks.
squeeze.
All right, we're drawing arrows in the direction that we believe you should go.
Currently looking around for those. 1 second.
So are they just appearing?
Yeah, they just appear like I look around and all of a sudden I see them. So I gotta kind of discover them a little bit because I'm not sure where exactly they are, where their origin from them. Oh yeah, that helped a lot.
Let us know when you find those arrows.
1 sec. They're making adjustments to kind of increase my ability to see the displays.
Oh, yeah, they're putting the photochromic film back on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We only have one clip with us right now, so we're running to find another one. We don't know.
Okay.
Gotta love it.
Is that blocking your peripheral?
Okay. So I'm just looking around for the arrow.
At least it's not July.
Oh,
Did I address this? Hold on.
It's cool. It's got the same mode.
All right, can you guys put a couple more arrows so that I have a reference here, or should I?
Yeah, have you seen any of the ones that I did?
Not for this one. No, I'm currently not seeing any.
Okay, I'll try and put a couple more down.
Oh, whoa, there they are. Oh man,
He sees them.
yeah, I see them.
Okay,
You
great.
put them at eye level this time. It scared me. Okay. I didn't think to look up. They previously had been on the ground. Now they're above me.
Okay.
So if I look up, I see them now. Sorry, we're
Okay.
right in front of me. Yeah, no, I see where to go now.
All right. So go in that general direction. We don't have distance data, but I believe your next point should be in that direction.
Okay.
And it's going to be a fair distance farther than the last point was.
Oh, I got help mode. Hello. So I'm to continue on this path. I'm not getting the arrows anymore. So I'm just heading in the straight direction off the last arrow.
Just watch your step. The EVA hurdles.
Just zoom out.
This guy straight up got this. Yeah, that's something.
Okay. I'm approaching kind of open field area.
All right. Do you see anything that looks like a waypoint?
A what?
Away.
Do you see anything that looks like your next destination?
I'm in the field over to my right. It seems to be some sort of small sedan. That seems to be the only thing in the field other than
Okay.
over to my left.
Okay. If you see something that looks like your science sampling destination, then go for it. Otherwise, just keep heading in the same direction.
Okay. I'm gonna head over to this, see what it is. Hopefully it's
Okay.
something.
Those are like the best instructions. If you see the thing that looks like it should be it, go to that.
Okay, it definitely looks scientific in nature.
Okay. It looks like you found it. I think you found it. Okay. So he's at that location right now. You might want to mark it.
Okay, I'm sitting here, and I want to see some sort of small rover. There's now there's a text on my screen. I don't know if the text marks the spot, or if that's something telling me something.
Okay. We can't hear you very well.
I can try to speak up. Sorry, it's windy out here. It seems like there are just now 6 squares that appeared and an X in the middle of them.
Okay. That's Caleb. I think he's just marking the location where you are.
Okay. Yep. Now there's
So-
a giant red arrow in front of me.
Okay. Great.
Telling me right here.
All right. So you can go ahead. I'm not sure exactly what you're supposed to do here. I think you're just supposed to collect the sample that's there.
Yeah, they said collect the sample.
Collect the sample.
So grab it. Yeah.
So
Take a field note now. Yep. Field note. Field note. New field note. Light tone. Flat. Fine. Classy. Crumble.
Start. 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 Follow me. Start. Follow me. There we go. I seem to have a vial of fine regolith, very homogeneous in nature, small specks of black throughout. But overall, the vial seems to be about 1.5 centimeters in diameter, and seems to be filled about 3/4 of the way full. And okay. Capture. All right, close. Close. Yep. All right, so I've collected the vial. I've taken my field note on it. What's next?
Okay, so now we're gonna navigate you back to your starting point. Caleb is drawing some things right now. Do we have arrows?
Back to your starting point.
Okay.
Caleb's gonna draw arrows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we got arrows.
Starting
It should
point,
be
I'm looking for.
accepted.
Oh man. Oh wow. All right, yeah. See arrows that were to lead me here.
All right.
And now I'm seeing when finished, return to building. So cool. Yeah, I see that over there. Now I got the arrows. I'm gonna start following these arrows.
Yep, just follow the arrows back to your starting point.
They navigate me perfectly around me. So cool. Yeah, I'm gonna follow these arrows. We're going like 1 for 1 on these arrows. So. You guys can turn like wildly right. Looks like the arrows are guiding me to go to the ramp this time. There's the stairs. Lunar wind. Something you really gotta watch out for. I'll tell you about that.
So the arrows
Now,
should be
so
leading
just
you
as
back.
a note too for future discussion, I'm getting arrows leading me up, but I'm also getting arrows leading me back. I'm pretty sure that the arrows going this way are the ones I want to follow, but they are at a point where I could misinterpret it and be
Okay.
the other way.
Okay.
A general note.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's coming right at me. Then I'm heading.
Yeah, Brandon's got the door. Thank you, sir. Do we need to take their sunshade off?
That'd probably be helpful. Okay. I just continue this way.
Yes, so we have about 3 minutes left on the evening.
Okay.
He's in the hall. Are you seeing him there?
He's still outside on my view, but
Well, he's in the hallway and he's seeing your arrows.
okay. All right. The position of the person wearing the HoloLens and the arrows do not seem
Hmm.
lined up like at all. Like, 'cause he can see, but right now they're
And then we're going back in there.
Yeah.
So in theory, you go back to the UIA and conclude your spacewalk. I can hold then.
Nice.
The end.
Yeah, so that's,
Right, you got it.
I think at this point we could conclude the EVA. Is there anything else in the 1 minute we have left, Olivia, that you would like?
I think that's all that we've got on our end.
Awesome. Well, then we can head over to the debriefing room.
Yeah.
Great success.
Yeah, so just stay in this Teams call and he'll hop into a different screen.
Okay,
And do a
sounds
debrief with you all.
From a different computer.
Yep.
Hello.
Hello. Howdy. How's it going? I was like, why does it take so long to upload? It's like, right, that was a pretty long
I can start uploading mine as well. I think I might still have some on my phone.
too, but I was testing with some random buddies of mine who were trying to out.
Yes.
Got some nice new content.
Sure.
That was cool.
What folder? Rock folder?
Yeah, raw footage. Yeah, and then I just made a SIMS testing day. It was interesting. I was talking to my manager at LTI, construction manager, and I was talking to him about this
Hey everyone, we're back. All right.
Hello.
Sorry, technical difficulties for my
Yeah.
laptop.
No
Oh,
worries.
All good.
So we have about 27 minutes. Now, I think we could give or take 5 minutes here or there because no one's coming into this room right after. But I think this is one of the most valuable portions of the challenge is the debrief session. I know you guys have competed in the past and been a part of suits, but Tyler, he's actually an EVA tools developer.
Oh,
So you guys got a really awesome participant. And so really at this point, the goal is to have an exchange of your experiences. I'm sure you guys have plenty of questions.
Yeah.
I'd just like to say a hearty congratulations because your telestration saved the day. And that's exactly the type of backup system you want. And so I think that is super exciting. I'm getting chills talking about it, but that you guys made it work. And so without a telemetry stream and you made like, that's just great job. So I'll let you guys take it away, but I'm gonna hop over to the next test. Just wanted to say congrats and I'll see you in the exit pitch and soak it all up because there's a lot that's in there that you'll learn from, I'm sure. So
Right.
thanks again, and I'll see y'all later.
All right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye. Oh, and if you need the volume up, it's just,
Oh, perfect.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And you can just leave that in here.
Okay. Cool. So where do you guys want to start?
Okay, well, I mean, we'd just like to know overall about your experience. I know one thing that I picked up was that you were getting a little bit of overloaded by all of the telestration that was still there. So we're assuming that like you think a delete telestration would be useful.
Yeah,
Is there
either
anything else?
telestration or color coded or something that would allow me to differentiate, saying like, hey, this is the current trail that you want to be following. So if one was blue or one was red, each time you went to choose something, if you could choose a different color, that would have helped me out to make that differentiation.
Yeah.
Would have been nice.
Okay.
That's funny. We actually did that in the desktop portal, but I don't think we put it built in VR, so we should
Okay.
just build that in real quick. So that'd be good.
Yeah. Any other like just general observations or thoughts from your experience?
Yeah. So at the beginning, when I was at the panel, so those panels are a little on the trickier side because a lot of things look very similar. So like you have to read like the O2 on the bottom, then you have to read supply above that. But there's multiple switches that are called supply. And the way it was kind of written out was a little bit confused. Like I had to pause and be like, okay, this is what I want. Like I want this step, and then I want this part of it. So making it like a little bit clearer, or maybe breaking it up a little bit more, would help that out. I also ran into an issue when I was reading it out loud, just because it helps when you're reading it out loud. Like you're like, okay, O2 set to close. The second I said close, I was having trouble with some of the voice stuff, but that worked perfectly. And away it went. So then I found myself having to open it back up and running through the procedure quick again because I was towards the end. So I had to get back to where I was, but I didn't have any data point. I didn't know I was on step 5 of 10.
Okay.
There was none of that. And another feature too, when you're reading them off, there are things that if only one word changes, it can be tough to tell like, oh, did I actually get to the next step? There's something like, hey, 5 of 10 and then 6 of 10, just so I know like, okay, I just moved to the next one. Would be helpful because I did see myself, the text is very similar. And if you're doing a repetitive step or something, you just want to be sure like, okay, this is intentional. Like this is a new slide that I'm looking at. It's not the same slide. Just because you have a lot going on and you're trying to see that in here and you're trying to see the panel in front of you. So it can be helpful to have just an indicator saying like, yeah, you did switch to the next slide as well.
Okay.
And then there was no previous function either. So it would have been nice. I mean, I don't know if I would have used it, but just in case I wanted to double check what I had just done, or if I had accidentally done next, like if I'd been going for the panel and I hit the panel and I accidentally hit next, there was no feature other than closing, opening up again and rushing through it. And if I'd been rushing through it and I overshot, I would have ran into the same issue.
Yeah.
So a previous function would have been helpful and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess that's my opinions on the UI portion of it. For the geology, the field notes, that was a nice thing where I could just say field notes and have it pop up. I think the order of the notes was pretty accurate to how you'd read off some of your geology stuff. So that was helpful because I just wanted to say like, okay, it's black. Like I find myself using the pattern that they're actually using in EVAs. I don't know if you guys have watched any of those videos or had any access to stuff like that because it seemed fairly straight on. Like you followed the voice order pretty consistently, which was nice. So I'm probably one of the few subjects today that would have actually been able to know that.
Yeah.
'Cause I've been
Yeah.
watching.
It's good to
No.
know, actually. Yeah, that's a really good one.
So yeah, that was a good cadence. I mean, some of the words I was looking to describe it may not have been there, but that was okay. I kind of adapted, but I did like the structure through there. It just felt like very natural that I could read off like what I was seeing in real time, and the notes were following along pretty well. So yeah, I definitely like that. Uh, when I got to the geology sampling site, there wasn't too much for me to do. I mean, I know pretty well, like, okay, go grab the tongs or grab this sample. But we actually have a punch or like on our cuff checklist that we make them wear for our EVAs. So I do a lot of rock yard tests where we actually take the crew members and we go out to the rock yard. And we say, okay, do exactly what we kind of just did there. So they're borrowing some of our tools actually. Do exactly what you just did there. But in the rock yard, and we don't have the heads up display or something. We have the cuff checklist that they can go and see. Okay, what's important? Like, what am I looking for? What makes a good sample? And so we have a system there that allows us to say like, hey, these are some of the things that you're looking for. You're looking for like representative samples, and you're looking for things that are out of the ordinary. So just something, and then you want to collect one of each or something like that. Or you want to try to read back like, hey, like this looks you could probably hear me talking. I was saying like this looks representative of the rocks in the area. So notes like that for people who aren't me would probably be more helpful. Just so they know like, hey, this is kind of what you're looking for when you get to this area. Just so they don't go walking around and pick up 3 of the same sample because they're all like, oh, hey, like, or they just go for the most unique because we do want the representative of what as well. So you want some of the norm and some of the abnormal every time you approach a station.
Okay, that makes sense. So I'm curious because one idea that we had explored and we didn't get to implement this year was doing a photogrammetry scan of the area. So it would create like a 3D model of the what you're sampling. Do you think that would be useful and like more useful than a picture in a way that it's worth it?
I mean, so the scan would be helpful for just kind of figuring out like the overall topography and all that. But the picture has kind of that finer detail that you can get into it. I will say for the camera feature, that was another note. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but when I was going to take a picture, I was trying to hold it in the center of that camera location, like where it said capture. And for some of those that seemed correct, but for some of them it didn't. So I didn't know exactly what distance to hold it at. Because it'd be a nice feature if you have, if I'm saying capture, I want to know what I'm capturing, right? So I held it into like where that square was. I tried to hold it to that and say captures so that I was getting like, okay, I know that the camera is taking a picture of this. That's something we struggle with a lot at the Rock Yard is these people go and they go, all right, I'm gonna hold it up to my camera for their like X-Info camera. They have no idea though. They're just kind of like, all right, there it is. Like you kind of have to guess. So something like this where it can actually be like, hey, like this is what you're taking a picture of, might be helpful. Just to go from there.
Okay. Okay, good to know. Any notes on the navigation besides the like getting a little bit cluttered?
So the initial ones were really good. I was able to follow those that were on the ground, and a pretty good indication of it. The one that I kind of seemed startled by, because I was looking at the ground for them, and then they were actually at eye level, which was fine. I just wasn't expecting it when because they're like, you're telling me they're there, so I'm sweeping the ground trying to find them, and then I look up and there's something like right in my face. So that's why I jumped back a little bit. It's just because it's right there, like you'd nailed the arrow like right on my eye. It felt like it was coming through my head almost. So it kind of caught me off guard when I saw it. But yeah, after I knew to okay, there they are. I didn't want to be looking up, so I took a quick glance up and then started walking. And then they seemed to go back down to the ground and not be a problem. So I don't know what was causing that issue, but when they were on the ground, that was helpful. I could see far enough out, like, okay, hey, I don't need to be staring at the ground for these. I see them, 20 feet out, so I know that's my direction. But when they're at eye level, that's a little precarious for me because I want to be checking my feet. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. How about as far as the voice navigation versus the hand? Did you have like a preference on which one felt more natural?
The voice navigation felt more natural. Like I said in the field notes, it definitely felt more natural because I was just reading off everything I was doing. The hand navigation was tough. Those gloves make it pretty difficult to get an accurate feel for what's going on in them. So I tried a couple times and was having issues. Outdoors with the wind and all that, there was a little bit of trouble trying to get the audio to work because I was just competing with the environment. Not something I'd usually expect in these tests, but just a general note for if they were struggling during the outdoor portion. I couldn't hear anyone really. I couldn't hear anything from the phone and all that. So I was really trying to speak louder for that. But that was the one time I was like, okay, a hand gesture here would be simpler for what I'm doing.
Okay.
Cool. That was one thing I noticed is the gloves were kind of dark. So
Oh yeah.
they have patches on. So because it's different colors, I think
Yeah. That does make sense.
I guess I'm kind of curious how well the arrows directed you once you got outside the building, because to be honest, from our end, we were more or less flying blind at that point.
Yeah, we had no idea where you were
Yeah,
supposed
so
to
I'm
go.
curious how close that was,
Yeah.
or not close.
They were pretty good. They were really good on the way back. On the way out, they got me, down the stairs. I could see that, and then there was nothing until I got to the actual area. And then when I got to the spot where the sample was, I got the nice big X and all that. But on the way back, yeah, it was pretty spot on and pretty helpful. I guess I might add too, because I'd be sweeping the ground for them. You were telling me that they were coming in, but some form of on-screen indicator, like, hey, look down or look this way, would be a lot more helpful. So I'm not spinning 180 or 360 degrees. Because I'm like, they could be putting them behind me, and I just don't know. I'm totally lost here. So something that says some form of while I'm looking here, hey, it's behind you, or an arrow in the vertical plane, so I could just do that instead of having to stare at the ground and figure, is it at my feet? Is it 5 feet out from me? Would be helpful. Just because, yeah, there were times where I'm hearing that there are arrows coming in, but I'm kind of swinging around a bunch trying to figure out the location of the starting point for them. But yeah, once they were in, and once I had the first one, it was all good. I just needed to find the first one. So I'd be searching frantically for the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm curious on. Oh, go ahead.
I'll just say another general note on the geology portion. So one thing that when I was doing the field notes, I was realizing too, some of the words, they were fine and coarse and all that. But if I wanted to use both words, I don't have that option. So if it was something I took, something that was a bunch of fine grain, but there was some coarse stuff in it as well, and I got kind of a mix, I could only use one word. So I tried to capture that in the audio portion, but it was a little like frustrating. Like, oh, what if I had a mix of some of these terms? Because you might have, 4 or 5 terms from the same screen that could be, considered in there.
Yeah, I was curious because like I wasn't familiar with the geology process at all. We used a chart that had some words basically that you might use. Like, did you feel like the words that we had were enough? Like, is there ever a case where you don't think all the necessary words could be listed and you would want to add your own option?
Yeah, personally for me, some of the words were helpful because it reminded me like, hey, like these are the things you should be looking for.
Yeah.
But Darren's on this call and he's going to make fun of me for not knowing some of those terms. But there's sometimes just it's easier to, and what we do for the rock yard is we just have something that has a bunch of the keywords on it, and you can just go to your audio and just start reading out the audio and just like look at those keywords and be like, it wasn't that one, it wasn't. But like when you're doing the audio, if you have a list of the keywords, it just helps you like think like, was it that? Was it that? Was it that? And that's really helpful for the audio portion of it. Is that you can capture like, okay, these are the ones that I was actually looking at. I think it's size, color. Oh goodness, Darren, if you want to join in, you can save my butt there on that. But size, color, um, I can't remember them all. I apologize. But there's a chart that we typically use that covers the feature or the things that you want to be looking at in a sample, and you can just look at that while you're reading out what the sample is like.
Yeah. Okay. As far as the tools, so I saw you like collecting the sample and stuff. Do you think it would be useful for us to like identify those tools or provide instructions on how you're supposed to use them? Or do they know how to do that?
So the tools, the operation of them is relatively straightforward.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know when you're approaching a station, what kind of tools you should be expecting and what kind of samples you should be expecting. So we have a decent understanding of like, hey, like you might be picking up, we want a bulk sample of this area, which a bulk sample would typically imply some form of scoop, and you'd be getting a lot of regolith and using that. And then some sort of float sample, which is what I opted for, would be you'd use the tongs to just pick up a rock. And then float samples could also be raked too, depending on kind of what you're going for. So it's nice when you're approaching a station to know like, oh, what are the general samples that you're expecting to collect? And you can use those terms like float and bulk to kind of dictate like, hey, you want to be kind of collecting this type of sample. So be looking out for this tool and be looking for good areas of that.
Okay. And who would that come from? Would that come from mission control? Like they've determined the
yeah.
area of time and they're
So some of it might just be like, ahead of time you're going out on your EVA, like, you're going to station A, and these are the features of interest in station A. That's why we're going to station A, right? Like, hey, I know this area, like not know it, but I have an idea that this station would have stuff of interest, and what are those features of interest? And that can change real time based on ground, like, hey, like while you're reading it out, the person at mission control might hear something of interest, or the people on the ground might be like, hey, actually, this looks more interesting. We weren't expecting this here. But we should have some form of grasp of like why we're going to that station and what we're expecting at some like ends to find. So we're going there because we have like a geological question we want answered, and what are we looking to get from that station to answer that question? Is kind of the whole goal. So knowing like, hey, you're going to a giant sand area, which is where I was at in station A. You could be like, hey, like you're definitely going to want to get some form of bulk sample there and pick up any smaller rocks that might be available. They might be representative of impacts in the area because we want to know kind of what created this field. But just, yeah, you want to just generate some form of question and what samples you would need to answer that question.
okay. That makes sense. Oh, one other question that I had. I know at one point you said that no, you were talking about the telestration. Okay, did you feel like any of the UI elements were cluttering it too much, like the mini map in the corner?
I
Or-
mean, I didn't really reference the mini map
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, the wrong map.
Throughout. There was one issue, like I had stated during the test, where like there were numbers that were overlapping each other. Like one was stagnant and one was changing. So I had two numbers that like it was like 187 and the other number was constantly changing. So that was a little distracting, but I just stopped looking at it to get around it. When I opened up the displays for like the field notes and all that, it was a little on the big side for my preference. So I'd rather kind of see more of what I'm doing and have something just small on the side. Um, so I maybe shrinking it down a little bit. The color of everything seemed to be fine. The white can be a little tough, especially like when I was outside. Like if I looked at the concrete or something, the white was a little bit tougher. Like switching to black or something at that point would have been more helpful. But in general, like when I was doing Station A and all that, I could read everything relatively fine.
Okay. Speaking of the colors, I did notice that they took off the photochromic film when you was inside. Was that impeding your view? Like, did you feel like you couldn't see things with that on?
With it inside, it felt a little gratuitous. I didn't really need it,
Yeah.
so I had that off. But that was again part of the reason I needed it outside. I could see the white. I could tell like, hey, there's something over there. But again, because it was white, I was having trouble contrasting it out from like if the sun was on the concrete. I didn't have anything to contrast that white and help me identify it better.
Okay.
I know you had a black outline on it, but it just wasn't enough sometimes for me to pick it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, to know if we did something, we just anywhere we've got white, it's just like a little black outline around it.
That might be a good
Just like arrow standing thing that's white, like skip a little outline.
Yeah. What about the follow me mode? I noticed you activated it once. How did you feel about that?
It was fine. I activated it to get it out of the way of
Okay.
something. Because I said follow me, looked the other way, and then stopped it.
Okay.
I didn't feel like trying to get it out of the way because I felt like it was blocking some of my UI. So something like that, something because I mean the general placement of everything seemed to be okay, but there were a couple times where it was just right over where I wanted what I wanted to be looking at. So I just wanted to just say, okay, just get over here for a minute. So that was really why I used the feature. Was more of a I don't know, get out of here feature.
Mhm. So with the voice commands, like where you accidentally activated it, we did talk about having a way of turning it on or off. Do you like? How do you feel about that? Like if you had to say something like
Like
start
a
to
like a Siri or a Hey Google type thing.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we did. We used to have that. Do you think it would get annoying, like if you had to repeat that before every voice command?
yeah, I think that'd be pretty annoying for me. The only time it would have not been annoying is when I accidentally said close.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if you could. I mean, close is a pretty simple word, but if there was a different word that you could be using in that instance, to minimize everything, that might be helpful if it was different than the procedures.
Yeah.
That would really save me there.
Yeah. Makes sense.
You could either do like a wake word on the close, since that's consistent, or we could even do something where it's like just change it to like click on, or
Yeah, just a less common used word.
something you're not as likely to say. I've definitely done that before. Or what's really fun is when someone else is testing it and you say something and it activates it in their headset.
Yeah, we have that.
That happened to me once. Paramita had said something.
Yeah.
She said hold, like please hold the handrail or something like that, and it said I think it thought it said help. It's like a help popped up and me while the steps.
Interesting.
The help menu. Oh, that's funny.
Yep.
I had the help menu up and I was like, oh, so I just closed out of it, but I didn't know if I assumed you guys hadn't sent me the help menu. But it just kind of surprised me when I had the help menu pop up briefly.
That's
Good to
funny.
know.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool. I'm just surprised the illustration worked as well as it did, honestly.
Me too. Yeah, that was really cool to test that
I was
out.
worried about that, not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, it worked really well. I was very impressed by it when all of a sudden I looked down and felt like one of those movies where you have that path like telling you like, hey, go this way. So very next generation, very awesome job on that. I mean, I don't know how you guys did it so well, but I mean, you even like made me dodge walls. I was like, it was really nice. So if it was blind guessing, nice job. Continue.
It was
Because
we had some walls and like the
guesses.
hallway and yeah,
Yeah.
a couple.
So yeah,
Basically,
very good
we
job.
started in the hallway real good, and then everything
Yeah.
else was kind of like, all right, we think it's here.
That was a really well done from my perspective. So that's what made it feel even more futuristic. Like, oh, I'm not trying to guess, and like I was actually just stepping perfectly on the arrows, and not coming across any issues. So that was really fun.
I'm not gonna lie, I definitely was afraid that I was running you into a wall somewhere. And I was like, okay, I hope the door is here. Like,
Yeah, it was again a very nice job. Like even to the door, I was like, yeah, no, this is going right where I wanted to go. So
okay, sweet, awesome, that's really cool, man. Heck yeah, that worked better than I thought.
Well, I think those are all the questions that I have. Do you have anything else, Caleb?
Yeah, I guess that was the big one. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because any other questions I would have would be in regards to the map, which didn't really. Yeah, we'll try that next time.
okay. Yeah, no, best of luck to you all. It was really fun. Really like working with you guys. So I hope it goes well.
Great, thank you
Awesome,
so
yeah,
much.
thank you. Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah.
It's awesome working with you. It's
Cool.
always good to learn from you guys.
No problem. All right, I'm gonna tag out then.
All
Great,
right,
thank
right
you.
on. Have a good
Bye.
one.
Yeah, thank you.
Suits team, is there anything else that you need from us?